So I teach in progressive and pluralist spaces, and it seemed to me that there was a kind of complacency that all of the perils of religious thought and teaching those were somebody else's ideas, and I really wanted to complicate that. So I actually began by teaching a course called Dangerous Religious Ideas, and I asked the students at the outset what they would put on the syllabus before I hand it out. And they would start with somebody else's ideas. And in this current climate in which anti-Muslim bias infects even progressive and pluralist spaces, they'd almost always start with jihad. And then they'd get to other ideas that they associated with extremism. But it only took about 30 to 40 seconds for them to realize just about any religious idea could make the list. You know, they knew that God, for instance, very central to their faith, was potentially dangerous, that over 40% of Americans think that you have to believe in God in order to be an ethical person. And if we don't trust each other based on what you believe or don't believe, that's dangerous. And so when we used to have blackboards, if you remember those good old days, or even whiteboards, when we actually used to meet in person, very quickly the board would fill with all of the foundational ideas of faith. And that is why I wanted to engage these questions. The way I go about it has to do with my own training. I am a history of exegesis person. I believe that what our sacred texts have meant still matter, that they very much shape the unfolding of the way these traditions are lived out. And I believe that embedded there is a rich multivocality and multiplication of possibilities of meaning and inside our traditions that sometimes get overlooked or forgotten, that we can recover, that we can be true to our traditions in ways that people can't even imagine until they start digging.
I'm curious about what a fascinating class. And I can't imagine like you opening the floor to like have this discussion. And as you were there at the whiteboard or the blackboard and people began to like just share out loud, like some of those dangerous religious thoughts, especially the othering. I'm curious about some of the things you were writing on the board and maybe some things that maybe surprised you that you heard.
I don't know that anything surprised me. Trying to remember. I haven't taught it in a few years. I'm teaching it again in the spring. I can let you know.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.